There's a little bit of a difference on our cash payments journal, this image versus the one that I had in the presentation. Besides the fact that you can read the words a little bit better, you will see right here there was only one number column, which is why I kept telling you before it was just called purchases discount. But basically, when you look at this, seeing as it's now February, and we've been in accounting since September, when you see this, the first thing that should come to your mind is that it's a journal. Okay. Now, what we're getting to with our merchandising business is the fact that we are going to be using multiple journals. Okay. So we're going to be going through and using a specific journal for a specific reason. And the reason for this journal is for what? What for cash? Payment. So we're only going to use this when money is leaving our business. Now, I'm going to tell you, 99% of the time, your source document is going to be a check for money leaving your business. And even if it was a debit memorandum, I'm still saying it's going to be, or excuse me, a debit card, it's still going to be considered like a check for us. Can anyone think of another type of transaction we would have happen where money is going to be leaving our account, but it's not going to be a check? Might be worth a Smartie. What is the transaction? You were correct in your source document. Nope, not for accounts payable. It is a memorandum, but it's not accounts payable. We would still kind of consider that like a check, though. So that source document would be like an EFT. So you're on the right track. For sure, the source document would be an M. Could likely happen every month. But only once a month. Oh, perplexing looks. You had to do it on Rico Sanchez. Right around, was it the 27th, I believe you did it for Rico Sanchez. Not petty cash. Service charge. Your bank service fee. Okay? Because are we really going to write a check to the bank? What is the bank going to do for us? Or for themselves? They're just going to take it out of our account, right? We have an agreement with the bank. They're going to hold our money, and if there's a fee associated with our account, they're just going to take the money out of our account. They're not going to wait for us to write a check and give it to them. They're going to take it out, and that's why the source document is going to be an M versus a C. Okay? So when we take a look at it, we're going to be using this for payments that the business needs to make. Now, one of the things that we have now, and I talked about this on Tuesday, is we have a new ledger. Okay? We have a general ledger which has cash, has our expenses, has our equity accounts, but we have two subsidiary ledgers called accounts receivable and accounts payable. We're going to forget about accounts receivable. That's another chapter. We're going to talk about accounts payable. Our accounts payable ledger truly is the list of all of our accounts for people that we owe money to. Before, we had a general ledger that had every single thing, accounts receivable people and our accounts payable people. But as our business gets bigger, are we going to have more accounts payable? Are we going to have more people that we're going to owe because we have to buy more stuff? Same thing for customers, right? We're going to be receiving more items. So basically what we're going to take a look at doing is we're going to have a separate ledger or one of those separate books just for accounts payable. And so when I need to go through and find all the people that I owe money to, it's just there. And instead of me saying or writing accounts payable Evan Schlens, I'm just going to write Evan Schlens. Okay. Now, it's not always going to be, our vendors are going to be accounts payable. They're not always going to be names of businesses. I'm going to say probably 89% of the time it's going to be the name of a business. And our customers would be individual names. But we could also sell to businesses. So you just have to be aware of the transaction and how it happens to determine. And the reason that I say this is because we have this column here called accounts payable. Don't get started on this journal yet. You're going to screw something up and then you're going to get things wrong. This column right here, instead of me writing accounts payable Tanner Wattoon, I write Tanner Ratoon, and what column does it go in? Accounts payable. Does that make sense? This is a special column. Okay, accounts payable debit, accounts or purchases discount credit, and cash credit, these are all special columns. These are called general columns. Okay? So when we take a look at journalizing transactions, like October 1st, it says pay cash for telephone bill 85 cents. Or 85 cents. How about $85? We have to start, and let's get our month and our date on there. We're going to put on October. First, what do you think we're going to do for telephone bill? What kind of account? Because it's not going to be telephone bill. Utilities. That's a smarty thought. Is it utilities payable or utilities expense? Because look at, if I type in UT, I have utilities expense or utilities payable. It is an expense. They're trying to give you fake accounts to freak you out. Check number is 321. I do not need to write C. I just put in 321. I do accounts payable, general debit 85 and cash credit 85. Now, anytime you put something in this journal, that means we have to be affecting cash. So the 7th, paid cash for office supplies. Put a date the 7th. My account title is supplies. Office, not expense, because we are buying an asset, and when we buy an asset, it increases the value of our business. Check number is 322, general debit for 52, cash credit for 52. The 11th, paid cash to GMT Hardware for merchandise with the list price of $800 less a 60% trade discount. 60% trade discount. Basically, a trade discount, and that's a vocabulary term from this chapter, and there were a ton of them. A trade discount is an agreement between two businesses. If you buy from me, I'll give you so much off. So what does that mean? Originally, the cost of the items should be $800, but are giving it to us 60% off. So how much do I really pay? How much do I really have to pay for those items? Someone give me the number. 320. How did you get that? That's how much is off.
Yeah, it was 480 off.
Okay, but that's what I was asking you, because he said he took 800 times 60. If I take 800 times 60, that's how much money I get off, so I can't use that number. You use that number, you could subtract from then 800 to get the value. What I like to do is I like to say, okay, they gave me a 60% discount. How much of it do I really need to pay? 40, the reciprocal of it to get to 100. Does that make sense? So if they're going to give me a 70% discount, I only need to pay 30, 70. I'm giving you a different number. Okay? So if they give me a 40% discount, I need to pay 60. So anytime you see trade discounts, I like to use the reciprocal of that number and multiply it across. So then if I take 800 times 40%, it should give you 320, right? Okay, so the date is it the 11th? I forgot the date. The 11th. Now, what am I getting? Okay, we're getting merchandise. Your account title when you buy merchandise is always purchases, not merchandise inventory. You will never journalize a transaction using the account title of merchandise inventory. Your key is, as a business that is now selling products, you have to go through, and when you buy items, you record that into the account called purchases. Very important that you associate merchandise with the account title purchases. Remember, that was the journal that we used before? When we bought merchandise on an account, we used the purchases journal. So the day is the 11th, count titles purchases. Check number 323, and that's going to be 320 and 320. The 17th, paid cash and account to West Supply covering a purchase invoice $199, $3,420 less a 2% discount. This is awesome. The date is the 17th. Who do I have to pay money to? West Supply, so that's going to go in my account title. Check number 324. Now, what has happened is this vendor, West Supply, made an agreement with us and said, hey, if you pay us within a certain number of days, I'm going to give you 2% off. But how much does it say in my books that I owe West Supply right now? Yes, $3,420. Would you agree? Because when I got my items from West Supply, that's what I recorded it in my purchases journals, $3,420. Do I have to pay $3,420? No, I get 2% off. So we have to do a little bit of math. But what I need to realize is in this accounts payable debit column, this is where that $3,420 is going to go. We are using a purchases discount. So what I need to do, using my calculator, I'm going to take $3,420, and I'm going to multiply that by 2%, or 0.02. And when I do that, that gives me $68.40. Would you agree? That goes in your purchases discount credit column. So they're saying this is how much money we got off because we paid right away. How much cash do I need to pay? I agree, Carson. How'd you get that? 0.98, or you can subtract 68.40. Okay. So I'm going to put in there 335,160. Now, notice we have cents for the first time for journalizing transactions. Okay? We haven't had cents before. When I take a look here, I have 2 credits and 1 debit. I calculated my discount right away, so I can take this number, subtract across my purchases discount credit to get my cash. Or I could also use the reciprocal, like Carson said, and multiply this number by 98.98. Okay? But the most important thing is, this is where many of you are going to struggle, because you will miscalculate this, and then your debits and credits won't equal on your line, and your journal page will not prove. So you are going to find now they are not going to give you every number. You're going to have to calculate numbers like we had on our trade discount. A trade discount, we don't use our purchases discount column. They're just saying, hey, it's on sale, you get it for this price. Okay, and that trade discount typically only happens when you are paying cash for it right on hand. Okay, so our next one, we have the 19th. Paid cash and account to Quill Forest covering purchase invoice 182 for $4,380. No cash discount was offered. So this one's really nice and easy. The date is the 19th. Quill Forest products for $325. And this is going to be $4,380 in accounts payable debit and $4,380 in cash credit because there is no discount. Try on your own. One second.